Hello. Now we shall look at the effects of the object. At first we shall describe the halo effect, and then we shall describe the particle effect. We create a new game object, create other, for example, a sphere. And now we look here on the component effects and halo effect. Now there is a fork around the sphere. This effect I use, for example, for showing the excitation in a nerve cell, and also for sometimes for traveling of the action potential along the axon. Such an effect is always connected with an object. You can't produce it without an object. But you can make the object invisible. For example, here we have the mesh renderer of the sphere. This means, in fact, visibility and more complicated things. And if we turn it off, then the sphere is not visible anymore. Now I shall turn it on again so that we have a better picture of what is going. And this is our newly produced halo effect. This is the color. Now it is light gray. We can change it, for example, to a yellow color, so it becomes more vivid. And here is the size. It is 5 now. You can make it smaller or larger as you like. I think unfortunately color and size cannot be changed with script, as we shall see later, but good. So this is basically we control halo appearance and disappearance with script when we want, and in a further lesson we shall cover scripts, because here this is a very good example for a simple script to see the effects. Now we can delete this sphere, and we shall see about the particle effect. Let us create another game object. For example, let us be a cylinder now, and then again we go to the component menu and effects and particle system. Already start the particles. We can now see more in detail about this. Here is the particle system we have created, and it is very convenient that we can edit it also here, but it is convenient to open editor in another window. And now we see the parameters. I shall cover only some which are, upon my opinion, the most important here. And for example, the start lifetime, how long, now it is 5 seconds. If I put, for example, 1 second, you see that they die here much sooner. So this is for, if you like, I shall explain later why this is very practical. If we, for example, put 11 here, then they live for a very long time, relatively for 11 seconds. You see here is the limit when they die off. Now let us put back to 1 second, or 1 second is quite okay. Look, here we have the size. We can make it larger. They are larger or they are smaller, as we like. Then start color, the color we want. For example, the blue color. So now they are of the blue color. Let us put, for example, to yellow so that they are nicely seen. Emission parameter is important. The rate of emission is very important. If we increase the rate of emission, then no, in fact we have to increase it much more. So maybe it's 55. Be more striking. So now you see it is much greater density of the particles, and this way, for example, you can visualize the postsynaptic potential. Release of acetylcholine or some other neurotransmitter from the synapse at the synapse cleft. This is emission. The shape is also an important parameter. Now you already see the shape is cone here, and you see the shape of the cone. You can change the shape of this cone. I shall now make the lifetime a little longer, so it is then simpler to see what's going on. Now it is much broader ray. Now it is a very narrow ray. And you can change also the origin point. It is also a circle that can be changed in size. So now it's like a narrow beam, and now it is like a wide beam. Oh. We have also other possibilities, sphere, hemisphere, and so on. For example, we can put here mesh, and then we can change the mesh. Now we can change some, for example, mesh sphere, and it is in the form of sphere. It is difficult to see why it is now the sphere. So we go to the renderer, and the renderer is the parameter which says how the particles are displayed. Now it is billboard. Billboard, this is like a billboard in English. This means a plane on which there is some picture, and at some points this picture is transparent, so that we don't see the rectangular shape of the board. We only see the picture on the board. If we change the billboard to mesh, we have, yes, now here is the mesh. Mesh is a cube, and if you change it to sphere, you see now the emitted, the particles emitted are in the form of the sphere. And about the texture, now I was speaking a minute before about the billboard and semi-transparent texture. Now let's look at the material. You see, this is the default material particle, and if I, for example, use the sphere material, this was the material of lesson before, where, if you remember, we painted a mitochondrion. We used the picture of a mitochondrion as the blue background. It is in fact this picture here, and this is our sphere material, and this material in the form of spheres is now used for particles. So you see it is quite flexible and nice. We can then go back to billboard, and now you see the billboard as it is. You see just the picture of the mitochondrion on a rectangular plate, and this plate then goes away because here it is no transparency. Therefore, also we see the whole plane. But if we put for the material a semi-transparent spot, like here in the default particle, then it appears like such as spots vanishing away. You can of course make any, for example, PNG texture, PNG picture with transparent parts, and this picture will then be used with such particles. So this was about particles today, and in the next lesson we shall start with scripting, with simple scripting. Thank you very much.